What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another Fortnight on the Isle, my bi-weekly update series. First and foremost, Merry Christmas to all of you guys, or whatever else you might be celebrating this holiday season. I'm currently recording this on Wednesday the 20th, and this comes out on the 24th, so it's actually a few days earlier than even I normally record these videos, so it's really early, but I do want to be able to relax and enjoy a longer weekend this weekend, so with that being said, this is just kind of how things are going to go. There are going to be some things that aren't going to be quite as up to date as they normally would be at the time that the video releases just because of that. But let's start off just as normal with the bi-weekly reading. First off, just going to say I went ahead and I finished Alternate Routes, the first book in the Vickery and Castine trilogy by Tim Powers. It was an okay book. It's one of his modern day series stories, which isn't necessarily the best of his work, or at least not the work that, say, Christopher Rocchio, for example, recommends to everybody wholeheartedly. So it was pretty okay. I had a discussion with him about how I felt about it. There was some great stuff. There was also some stuff that I felt held it back just a little bit more than I would have liked it to. But I do have some fairly exciting updates on the rest of my reading. First off being that at the time this video is coming out, I have finally finished The Shadow Rising. At the time I'm recording, I still have, I think, 60 pages left, but I will absolutely be finishing this probably tomorrow morning. Friday morning at the absolute latest will be once this book is finally done after nearly 2 months of reading The Shadow Rising. Finally there, I'm done. Like I said, at the time this video comes out, I am done. You'll hear more about my thoughts on that in the next monthly reading wrap-up and TBR video. In fact, I think I actually go over that in this video, so let's move on to the next thing, being Return to Adan by Philip Chase. Now, while 2 weeks ago I didn't get as much of this read as I wanted to, in fact, I got none of it read. There's actually an item that I'm forgetting to list on here that I need to talk about. I did get 150 pages of this read, or nearly 150 pages, last Monday, so I got a decent chunk of the way through. I'm finally over halfway through with this, but given that I'm now done with The Shadow Rising, I had a couple extra days to be able to work on this dedicatedly this weekend. Obviously, I don't know how much because I'm recording this ahead of time, but I've been really loving this book. It's been fantastic. It might be my book of the month. That's all I'm going to say about that. Again, we'll talk about that video a little bit later. The thing that I forgot to include in my notes that I'm going to grab right now, I grabbed the wrong thing. I did Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 2. I did not think I would be able to get to it this month. I was very uncertain if I would. I did actually get to it, and I did it all in one day. So the reason that I didn't read any Return to Adan 2 Mondays ago, like I normally get a lot read on Mondays. That's why I'm saying Mondays specifically. I didn't get any of that read 2 weeks ago because I was doing this instead. Got completely through it, and it was a lot cleaner than Tales Volume 1 was by a long shot. It was a lot more enjoyable to actually work through, and I think I underrated it initially in my first time reading it through. I really enjoyed it the second time in ways that I didn't the first time, and I think more than I did the first time, which I think is the opposite experience that I had to Tales Volume 1, which I enjoyed more the first time and didn't enjoy as much on the reread. But again, I think a lot of that was because of, the proofreading process. But I guess I'll just set this here. That was the other thing that I got through that I didn't include in the notes. Otherwise, I started... Actually, I might have said that I started this in the last one of these updates. I don't even remember. But I did get a decent bit of the way through Anna Karenina. There was a bit here a few days ago when I was like, am I even going to get through part 1 by the end of the month? Am I just going to be going through this really slow? I'm happy to say that I am through part 1. I'm nearly halfway through part 2, and I'm thinking I'll be through part 3 by the end of December. Potentially even part 4 if I get a little bit extra reading time, depending on what things happen with work schedule as well as my personal schedule with making videos. So decent chunk of the way through. It's really good. Tolstoy's great. The story is, there's not necessarily a whole lot happening in the story, but a lot of the character depth is really good. The way characters perceive each other, the way they interact, and the kind of drama inherent in that has been very enjoyable. But let's move on now into the bi-weekly writing, where I talk about what I wrote over the last couple weeks. It was actually a big couple weeks, and surprisingly so, considering the fact that I would normally have one or maybe even two extra like full days worth of writing to include in this section in any given fortnight on the Isle, because I normally record this on Fridays, sometimes Saturdays. I'm recording this on Wednesdays, so that makes a big difference. So let me go ahead and switch over to the other screen to show you what's going on over there. I did get 3,000 words or so. Well, not a full 3,000 words done over the last couple weeks. It was more like 2,600 words. I guess that's a more accurate count. But everything that I've done here, I've done over the last several days. It's been a great time. I finally pushed through the rest of Act 1 for the second book in the Silent Rain trilogy, at least in terms of the outlines. I just barely started Part 3, only got through the first interlude of that, or, that interlude, which I believe is the second interlude in the book, but none of this really matters to you guys. Parts 3 and 4 are super short, though, so I'm pretty certain I'll get through that by the end of the year. Still hoping I'll be able to get through the rest of it, all 5 parts, by the end of the year. That might not happen. That's a big maybe. But also notice that I said Book 2 of the Silent Rain trilogy rather than Halfway Hollow, the title that I've used in the last few of these updates. That is because I was having dinner the other night with one of my brothers, and we were talking about the series and kind of some of the stuff that I was doing with it. And I've been bouncing this idea around for a while, and I'm pretty sure I've said it on these updates a couple of times. I've been debating renaming the second book to Ballad of the Bird, but I also wanted to keep the name Halfway Hollow, so Book 2 was renamed to Ballad of the Bird, and the third book was renamed to Halfway Hollow. The Lake of Ash was a fine name for the third book, but I really wanted to still use Halfway Hollow as a title, and it still works for that third book, so I'm doing it this way. I wasn't a fan of Halfway Hollow as a title for the second book because it didn't make sense, and switching the two and putting Lake of Ash there wouldn't make sense either, so I just decided to call it this because I could. But yeah, it is now broken 13,000 words. Over 2,000 of the words that I got done of the 2,600 words that I did over the last week and a half, really, were all directly in here rather than in the timeline and other stuff like that. But I'm making good progress. Like I said, I hope to be through parts 3 and 4 by the end of the month. Hopefully 5 as well, but at least 3 and 4. Maybe I'll even be able to get through those by the end of this coming week. That really depends on how much relaxing and other stuff I decide to do this weekend rather than writing. Anyway, I'm pushing forward. If you switch back to this other sheet, you'll see I've nearly written 75,000 words this year. It's at 72,000. If I were to finish this outline, finish the revision for it, get through parts 3, 4, and 5, I'm pretty sure I will break 75,000 words this year. Even if I only get through parts 3 and 4 over the rest of the year, I still think I'll break 75K, which I am really excited about. That'll be really great. Here's to maybe getting 100,000 in 2024. With that being said, I can now switch back over to the proper screen here and talk about the coming releases. On the main channel, there are several videos coming out. There's one that may or may not actually happen because it's kind of a pilot of sorts, but let's talk about what's coming out over the next couple of weeks. On the 26th, this Tuesday, will be my last review of 2023. That will be of The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones for episode 122 of the book binge. I enjoyed that book a decent bit, at least a lot more than I was thinking I would based off of general reception to it. So if you're interested in that review and, making fun of me for my bad taste, apparently, that like some of you might be inclined to do, or if you want to praise me for my good taste, like a couple others of you might be inclined to do it, that review will be out on Tuesday. On the 28th, my final Wheel of Time diary for The Shadow Rising, because I'm finishing it, basically over the next couple days after recording this video. Finally, I'll be done with the Wheel of Time diaries for that, so it'll be the final one for this book, it'll be the final one for this year, and just kind of wrapping things up in a fun way like that. On the 31st, that will be next Sunday, might be my pilot episode for Short Story Sundays, a series that I want to do every other Sunday opposite Fortnight on the Isle, covering, reading, reviewing, and analyzing short stories. I don't know how deep I'll go into analyzing certain short stories versus others. I don't know if I'll be able to do one every Sunday that I don't post a Fortnight on the Isle I would like to, but you never know if that is something that I can actually sustain doing, especially as I move into 2025. But that's a future me issue. But this is a series that I've wanted to start, so I'm considering actually starting it now. So look forward to that possibly happening. I'm not sure if that will actually occur on the 31st, just because it might be a series that I like. This will be a 2024, debut. So maybe it'll be the week or a couple weeks after that because of the next Fortnight on the Isle and the timing of everything else. But either way, I'm excited about considering doing that very soon. But regardless, whether anything comes out next Sunday or not, on the 1st of the year, on January 1st, will be my 2023 year in review video. Similar to what I did last year, where I kind of talk about a couple of things that happened over the year, go over statistics of how my channel did. Spoiler alert, this year was huge. It was actually really good, and I appreciate all of you for that. And then I also go through a couple, plans and ideas that I have for maybe hopes that I have for the channel. On the 2nd, next Tuesday, will be my December reading wrap-up and January TBR. Like I mentioned a couple times earlier in the reading section of this, I'll be going through and doing my book of the month like I always do. In fact, I'll probably be renaming those videos to include like December reading wrap-up or like December book of the month and something. I'm really not sure yet. I might not do that, but I've been thinking I might decide to rename those videos so that's more clear, so that they kind of get a little bit more attention, because it used to be that those were my biggest videos every single time they came out. Now they're generally my smallest videos, and that, or at least my least watched videos, which is very surprising to me. Either way, that will be coming out on the 2nd. And then next Thursday on the 4th will be my top 10 best and worst books of 2023. Although I'll clarify, I believe I have 3 dishonorable mentions in there. I have like 7 honorable mentions between a couple different things, and then my top 10. So I'm really discussing 20 books in that video, and very few of them are going to be in the worst section, but that will be coming out next Thursday. I'm very excited for that. My one that I did earlier in 2023 covering 2022 was quite a big video, one of my biggest like initial receptions to a video that I've had. So we'll see what happens this year. On the second channel, I will say I completely forgot about reviewing Orbit Culture's new EP, The Forgotten, over there, like doing an impromptu review like I just had wanted to do on one of the couple Mondays. I didn't do that, and I probably won't be doing that now because I'll be focused for a little while on year-end content, doing an album of the year list and game of the year list as well on my blog, which, since I've been doing some of my blog stuff, recording them and putting them on the second channel, it'll be a lot more work doing those. So I'm going to be working on those early in January, basically, instead of an impromptu review about an EP. So this Friday on the 29th will be the second part of 2 of my Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories VODs that I kind of did watching cutscene movies with Josh. So it was just 2 videos, one that came out this past Friday, one that comes out this coming Friday. I had an enjoyable enough time with Josh doing that. We got to talk theories that I had. We got to talk revelations. We got to talk some pretty cool stuff for that series, and I still haven't played Kingdom Hearts 2 since then, so maybe this will kind of kickstart that. Probably not. Who knows? Either way, next Friday on the 5th will be the first part of my BioShock Remastered Let's Play. This is the last of my 2020 backlog video or series. There's 12 Let's Plays for the BioShock Remastered series. So the first one comes out next Friday. There will be 11 more, and then after those 11 are done in the new year, I'll be out of backlog videos. So maybe I'll need to actually put together some of my Let's Plays that I've recorded this year and finish editing some of those, because I have not made the time to do so for a while. I'm not 100% sure yet on the timing for some of that year-end content. Maybe some of it will come out early enough to be within this fortnight, but next fortnight on the I'll probably have a little bit more news on this front. I have a lot of material to get through, both for music and in terms of actually looking at what I played and ranking some of that stuff. And since now I want to record and make those into videos, it might take a little bit of time into January to get those out. Not sure when, but for entertainment talk, I don't believe I watched or played anything this fortnight. Again, kind of like I did last time. I've been working on a lot of other stuff. I've been reading a lot more this time around. And I'm probably going to relax this weekend because, I have a 4-day, 5-day weekend. I don't know how timing works. I think I have a 5-day weekend actually. So yeah, I'm going to try to do a lot of writing and gaming this weekend just to kind of have a little bit of fun and relax a little bit before the new year. What will I play? What will I do during that time? I have no clue, because I'm not even 100% sure if I will do it. I probably will, but, you know, these decisions can be made a little bit later. As for music talk, not quite so much to talk about this week as last, just a few singles that I want to shout out. The new Sum 41 single called Rise Up, which I thought was the better of the 2 singles they've released. It's bittersweet that they're releasing their last album in 2024. But I'm excited for it, and I did enjoy this single. A small band called Nightmares released a single called Falling Out that I thought was a bop. Catchy chorus, had some very heavy, surprisingly heavy moments like the band does, so I enjoyed that. Solid single. Brand of Sacrifice also released a new single called Purge. This band isn't exactly my thing, but the single was decent enough, and they occasionally have fun moments. But I know a lot of deathcore fans really like Brand of Sacrifice, so there's that if you happen to be into the genre. Any new releases that might have come out on Friday, December 22nd? I have no idea, obviously, because I'm recording this early. So that is where I'll end the music talk and where I'll end this fortnight. On the aisle, this one is probably the longest one of these that I've made in months. At least a couple months, I think. So there was a lot to talk about, and I got rather excited about a few things. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great Christmas. If you're watching this on release day or in the couple days afterwards, shame on you for not spending more time with your family. I'm joking, of course. But thank you for watching regardless. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you guys have been having a great weekend. I hope you guys have a great start to your new year next week. Again, I have a lot of great stuff coming in 2024. I'm very excited for this new year because 2023 was huge, a lot better than I ever could have expected it to be. Again, thank you for watching. I'll be back in the next video, just like always.